but the last time it told me that actually was. Okay, there we go. I am live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of American Soccer Quick Kicks. I'm your host, David Wright. I'm going to try to make my live streams a regular thing every Tuesday night at this exact time so that we can all develop habits and maybe we can all start growing this a little bit. That'd be a lot of fun. Apologize for not being able to make it last week. Had a bit of an episode just before I was set to go on the air. I had a little bit of a mishap in the kitchen and found myself in the ER. So I would much rather have been talking about soccer than what I was going through. But anyway, I want to just let's talk about this past week. We've had the Gold Cup and the Club World Cup going on at the same time, and it's actually been a whole lot of fun. I've been carried away by the Club World Cup. I think a lot of people have been taken by surprise by just how much fun it's been and the intensity of it and just the atmosphere surrounding the matches. And I'm going to get to that second because to me, that's actually the bigger story right now. I think Club World Cup has actually been eclipsing, kind of stealing the spotlight away from the Gold Cup. But let's talk about the Gold Cup first, because this is American Soccer Quick Kicks, and we have the U.S. men in action going on right now. As you well know, we came into this tournament in terrible form, having lost 4 in a row for the first time since the 80s when we were an amateur part-time program and hadn't been to the World Cup in 40 years. We were hitting those kind of historic lows. And we were coming in the Gold Cup without our top roster, which everybody knows about. And so we needed to start seeing some positive results. And they have turned it around in time for this tournament, and that's great. So, in case you don't know, the U.S. has played all 3 of the group stage matches, and they won all 3 of them. They swept the group and finished at the top, finished in first place, and have advanced to the knockout stage. So that is a positive, and there's no way that you can look at it as anything other than that. It's definitely a positive, much needed. It's nice to finally be able to watch a game and see us control it and to see us win it, right? And to feel like it's comfortable and in hand and playing well. And we haven't had that in a while. And it's, I think, important for this group to get those early results and to build that confidence. All of that is fantastic. One big against Trinidad and Tobago, squeaked by on Saudi Arabia, and then handled business with Haiti. We just have to temper the excitement. Okay, we don't need to get carried away by it. It's definitely a positive, definitely much needed, definitely a confidence builder, but you do have to look at the quality of the opponents. Okay, this is still the same squad that lost those 2 friendlies in the warm-up. Historically, Trinidad and Tobago has been, a team that's given us trouble, as they were famously the country that eliminated us from World Cup qualification in 2017. So it's like those of us that remember that, we're watching that night, there may always be an axe to grind with Trinidad and Tobago. And I didn't do any research on these squads in advance. I just know like the historic trends with these countries. And just historically, I assumed Saudi Arabia would be the toughest of the group and Haiti would be the weakest. But that Trinidad and Tobago, they've given us plenty of trouble in the past. In retrospect, I think we were actually lucky with our group. I don't think either Trinidad and Tobago or Saudi Arabia brought very strong squads. Trinidad and Tobago definitely seems to be at a low point. So maybe we had it a little bit easy, maybe that's okay. I mean, we needed it, but this is by no means should you conclude from this that we're any better than we were when we were playing those friendlies. What we're going to see now is tougher competition. All right, we've advanced out of the group stage, and we are now in the quarterfinals. It's a small field, so now that we're just now entering the knockout stage, but that is the quarterfinals. Okay, there's going to be 8 teams left. Group stage is actually still going on this week. That bracket has not been completely filled out, but our group is finished. So we do know our opponent. We're going to be playing Costa Rica on Sunday. So that's going to be tough. It can be tough. I mean, I'm just going by history. I haven't done the research on the current Costa Rican squad, but that they are typically, one of the teams out of CONCACAF that often qualifies for the World Cup in qualification cycles. So we're going to have our hands full, and of course, the later you get into the tournament, the tougher and tougher it's going to get. I don't know if we have it. I hope that this team is coming together with this extended camp and are benefiting from that extended time together in the way that we would like to have seen our top players be able to do so. It's hard for me to believe that this is going to be a year where we make it to the final. CONCACAF has a way of making sure that the brackets make it possible for the United States and Mexico to meet in the final. And again, that's already set. Mexico's already on the other side of the bracket, and they're in the knockout stage. There have been 17 Gold Cups. The Gold Cup history in its current form only goes back to 1991. And so there's been 17 of those. They don't happen every year. And out of those 17, 9 have gone to Mexico, and 7 have gone to the United States. The only time it's ever gone to anybody else was in the year 2000 when Canada won it. All the other Gold Cup championships have gone to either Mexico or United States. And going back to, I think, 2011 or 2009, it has literally alternated every year. Mexico won the most recent one, and then it was the United States. You go back through time, it's Mexico, U.S., Mexico, U.S. It alternates like that. So it's always been very tough, and it's typically come down to U.S. and Mexico. Canada is stronger now than they historically have proven to be. I feel like, and by the way, there's a whole drama going on with the Canadian team and their manager. I'll save that for a different episode. But I don't know. I don't know if we're going to get past Canada this year. If we can get past Costa Rica, I don't know how. I haven't studied the brackets too closely, and again, they're not even finished. They're not finished being filled out after the group stage. But if we end up playing Canada, that's really going to be one to watch. So, who have been the players that have stood out? I told you to keep an eye on Luna and McGlynn. I think they've continued to play well, and I think that Poch is becoming familiar with them and likes what they bring. And I think they're not doing anything to hurt their chances to end up being depth pieces on the World Cup roster. But I think who has emerged, I think the storylines that are building around this team during this tournament are around Malik Tillman and also Chris Richards. Tillman's an attacker, and he has done well. He's someone in the same category as Johnny Cardoso, who has always done really well for his club and just never really put it together for the U.S. And Tillman is actually finally putting together good matches for the U.S. He's scored, I think, 3 times so far, and he's getting he's already getting interest from other clubs that are interested in buying him. So I think that Tillman is doing a lot to build his stock. We have always had trouble over the last several years. I mean, going back 4 or 5 years, trying to find who is our go-to striker, who's going to be our final attacking piece there in that striker position. And we've just never had anybody step up and take the reins. We keep somebody has a few good games and we go, maybe this is going to be the guy. So Neil Tillman can add his name to that list. Maybe he's going to be the guy. Chris Richards, I like him because he's from Birmingham, Alabama, a place that I called home for quite a few years. He plays for Crystal Palace, and he had a very successful season there in England. And he has emerged as our constant, our number one go-to center back. So he's a defender, and he's had a fantastic tournament so far. So that's good to see. You like to see guys stepping up, taking advantage of their opportunities and making the most of their situation. And I think when it comes to player stock, I think those are the 2 big success stories to come out of this so far. Tillman and Richards, keep an eye on them. And again, Luna and McGlynn, I don't think are doing anything to hurt their stock. I don't know what else we're going to get out of this roster. I can tell you this: our goalkeeping situation is at perhaps an all-time low. When I say all-time, I'm taking it back to 1990. That's the year that modern U.S. soccer history began, when we made it to that World Cup. Going back to that time, we've largely had excellent world-class goalkeepers. Tony Meola, Brad Fiedel, Casey Keller, Tim Howard. Since Tim Howard has dropped out, I mean, he's retired now, but once he fell out of the international scene, we have struggled to find somebody to be that goalkeeper at that level, and it's never really happened. And going into 2022 World Cup, we assumed it was going to be Zach Steffen. Well, he fell out of form just prior to that World Cup, and Matt Turner stepped up, and we all love Matt Turner. Well, what's happened now is that Matt Turner has he's way out of form, and he's not getting minutes. He's not playing for his club, and if he's gonna be the goalkeeper, he's got to play some games. And here he is at the Gold Cup, and Zach Steffen had to leave the camp due to an injury. It looks like the path is clear for Matt Turner to at least get some minutes with the national team, and he hasn't done it. Pochettino has gone with Matt Freese instead, and that does not bode well for Matt Turner. I think he's an awesome dude. His story is absolutely amazing. Maybe I'll do a little biographical episode one day on him. I mean, I'm really rooting for the guy, but it's not looking good for him in terms of being able to retain that World Cup goalkeeper status. Matt Freese is the guy that Poch has been going with, but if you watch the Haiti game, the one goal that Haiti scored was off a terrible error from Matt Freese, like embarrassing. He just absolutely passed it right to him right there, and they pounced on it and finished it off. And it's like one of those, it's a howler. It's totally embarrassing for the goalkeeper. So the question is the goalkeeper position volatile enough and undecided enough that that's enough to make Poch go with Matt Turner in the Costa Rican game that's coming up on Sunday, or not? Does he have enough confidence in him that he's willing to say, hey, look, everybody makes mistakes. Don't worry about it. Shake it off. Let me see how you respond. I don't know. It could go either way. So when we line up for Costa Rica on Sunday, that's a position to be interested in. Who has been picked to play goalkeeper there? Because we're stepping up into the knockout rounds. Now, before I move on to the Club World Cup, I just want to say this real quick. I spend a lot of time, crying about how we don't have our best guys at the Gold Cup, and this is the CONCACAF Championship. I want to be clear, in case you're not totally familiar with the Gold Cup, we do have a well-established history of sending what you might call our B squad to the Gold Cup. That fits the pattern. That's not abnormal. We have if our A squad is made up of our guys that play their professional ball in Europe, and then our B squad is made up of career MLS guys that stay in our domestic league. We've sent MLS heavy squads to the Gold Cup often, so the fact that we're doing that here, that in itself, outside of context, is not the problem. Is not a big problem. And I want to make this clear: we can be competitive. I mean, like I say, we've won 7 Gold Cups. This is a squad that could win the Gold Cup. That can happen. And so we're not going to get out of it what I would like to get out of it in terms of preparing for the World Cup. In terms of preparing for the World Cup, I just knocked my earbuds out. Hold on just a second. But we can, even though we're not going to get out of it what we want for World Cup preparation, that doesn't mean the Gold Cup is a wash. Absolutely not. So tune in, watch these games, pull for our guys, and see how we do. It's possible. It remains possible that we can make a deep run here and absolutely compete for the Gold Cup. What makes it different this time is not only is this a World Cup prep year, but it's one we're hosting, so we don't have qualification matches. We're looking for competitive environments, competitive, meaningful, competition, and this was our best shot. And we have not been in good form. When our top guys are in, we haven't been great. And we have a new manager. So it's all these things that it's like, well, look, this time we really we need to get it together in time for next year. Like, this would have been the Gold Cup to bring in the A squad for those reasons. But it doesn't mean that that we can't compete in the Gold Cup. I mean, I don't know if we're going to get past Canada. I don't know if we're going to get past Costa Rica, but this isn't like some terrible team that's going to get embarrassed against CONCACAF opposition. Not at all. So anyway, I'll leave it there. Just know that we are now in the quarterfinals and we play Costa Rica on Sunday. I want to move to the Club World Cup real quick before I get out of here. The Club World Cup, I am all in. I am all in. Shoot it into my veins. This has been so much fun. That vibe you get from watching the World Cup, where you have all these different teams from all over the world, and you have these fan bases from all over the world all coming together and cheering for their side. Like, we're getting that same energy. I got goosebumps right now talking about it. We're seeing that in the Club World Cup. I feel it more here than I did in the 2022 World Cup or even the 2018 World Cup. Particularly the passion that we're seeing from the South American fans, I'm absolutely loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. And the attendance has been great. They play games in the afternoon during the work week. Those have been poorly attended. But the ones they have on the weekend, and I assume as we get out of group stage and we have fewer and fewer matches, that they'll stay on just the weekends. But they have been packing out these stadiums, when it's not during the workday, and been bringing the passion. I mean, you got the stands are jumping, the songs are being sung, the smoke bombs are going off, and the drums are playing. It's just been a lot of fun. And what we've seen is we've seen Europe be humbled. Like, they're coming here with the most number of teams. And if there was any confederation that perhaps wasn't going to take this very seriously with full effort, it was going to be Europe. And I don't know. I really don't know. Somebody can tell me, what's the quality of these squads like, really? But what I can tell you is we're seeing some big names. I think they're going for it, because I'm seeing world-class players that I recognize from the World Cup playing in all of these. And I've got a cat crying outside my door, and he's really distracting me. I thought I left the door open. But you've got South America and Asia and Africa and CONCACAF that are that's all they want to do is be able to beat European teams in meaningful competition. And Brazil has 4 teams, I think 4 or 5 teams in this competition, and they have been fantastic. I think the reputation of Brazilian soccer has shot way up based on the results of this Club World Cup. The other thing that I think is going to happen is that the competitive spirit is going to be ignited. And if these European teams came in not caring about this too much, I think that attitude is changing, and I think it's going to continue to change in the future iterations of these tournaments, because everybody else is taking it very seriously, and they better get up to speed or else they're going to be embarrassed on the world stage. And I think we're seeing that already. So it's actually been a lot of fun. I see that I've got a comment that popped up. You know what? Give me a second, Smoke Signal. I'm going to open this door for him. All right. No telling what he's going to do in the background of my shot here, but at least it won't be whining. Again, I've just been caught up in the energy of the Club World Cup, and I think it's just been a lot of fun. Yeah. So the Miami. All right, so let's talk about this real quick, and I'll get out of here. LA, Seattle, Miami have been the 3 MLS teams to to play in this tournament, and LA and Seattle have been eliminated. They did not make it out of the group stage. I don't think they embarrassed themselves. I think LA, even though they lost 2-0 to Chelsea, I thought they did not embarrass themselves against Chelsea. I don't think Seattle embarrassed themselves. They had both Botafogo from Brazil and PSG from France, and did well, scored against them, all that kind of stuff. They have been eliminated, but Miami has made it. Now, Miami was the team that didn't get here on sporting merit. They got here because the host nation gets an extra slot, and they've got Messi. So somehow their team got picked. But they won. They beat Porto, which is a powerhouse club in Portugal, beat them. And then they were playing Palmeiras from Brazil, and were up 2-0 until the 80th minute. and were on the verge of winning the group, but they gave up 2 goals in the last 10 minutes, ended up in a draw. So they came in second place in the group, but they did advance. So this is historic. When they beat Porto, that's history. That is the first time that an MLS club has ever beaten a European club in a match that mattered. Like there have been these, usually when we get European or English clubs over here, it's during their preseason exhibition tour, or it's a friendly, or it's an all-star game, or whatever. Like there's never an occasion to really play them in anything where there's real stakes involved. The Club World Cup provides that, and we did it. Like we as Americans, Miami beat Porto, and that has never happened before. An MLS team has never beaten a European club in a meaningful competition ever before. And more history, for the first time ever, an MLS club has now advanced to the knockout stages of the Club World Cup. So, of course, that's easy to say because this is the first expanded format of the Club World Cup, where you've had a group stage and a knockout stage. Before now, it's just been a very small tournament where I think you immediately, I don't know if it's probably double-legged affairs. I don't know. The club before this year, the Club World Cup was nothing. It was almost invisible, and no one sent in their top squads. There was only like 7 or 8 teams. This is something I want. I want this every 4 years. Let's do it every 4 years. Okay, it's the World Cup. Let's have it in the year before the real World Cup in the same country that's going to host the World Cup. Give them a trial run of hosting a big event, because this is big. International fans are showing up in the numbers, and you've got to have the infrastructure. You got to have the hotels, got to have the transportation, got to have the security, got to have the ticketing stuff worked out. This is a good test of the infrastructure, right? A good test of the system of being ready to handle the World Cup next year. It's also, stadiums, facilities, training grounds, all the stuff. It's great to get the host cities ready for the World Cup. And I'm just loving the energy that I'm seeing in the stands. This has been a fantastic tournament. If you listen to the chatter, you'll see that everybody is excited about this. I haven't heard anybody say anything negative about this tournament, and I am fully on board. The only thing I want now is for FIFA to clear out the international calendar during the summers that we have the Club World Cup, because, like for example, the Gold Cup's going on right now. Well, now we're fighting for players. Who's going to be playing for their country? Who's going to be playing for their club? And frankly, the Club World Cup, in terms of excitement and public engagement and all this stuff, it's blowing the Gold Cup out of the way. The Gold Cup is like under the radar. And it shouldn't be, it's extremely important competition. So I'm having a blast. I love to see the U.S. succeed, and I am so pleasantly surprised by what I'm seeing from the Club World Cup, because there was no guarantee we were going to get interest or anybody buying into it being important. Or are there really stakes? Any tournament, the stakes are only as big as the competitors and the fan bases choose to make it. If everybody, and this happens, is like, this one doesn't count, this one's not important, then everything falls flat. But if people bring the passion and people bring the desire and people bring that competitive spirit to the field, and now we're seeing like confederation pride, like even though these are clubs, they're coming from specific countries. Like Brazil, they're representing all of South America. The United States, Miami, they're representing all of CONCACAF, right? We've had a Japanese team here. We've had a Korean team here. We've had, I'm not going to try to name the number of slots from Africa and Asia, but it's been fantastic. It's just been a whole lot of fun. Now, so coming up next, the first round of the knockout stage will be a round of 16. Right now, it's not over yet. The groups have not all the groups have been decided. So we don't know exactly if there's going to be movement here, but if current standings hold, which is a big if, then out of those 16 the teams in the next round, 12 will be 12 will be from no, let me see if I get it right. I'm not remembering right now, but it's like 10, 11, or 12 coming from Europe. And you've got almost all the rest coming from South America. And the only one out of the 16 that's not either European or South American is Miami. So that means CONCACAF, which is North America, Central America, Caribbean, and Asia, and Africa, and Oceania, all of those confederations together combined have one team in the knockout stage, and that is Miami from Major League Soccer. So just the fact that they got there is huge for Major League Soccer. Now, who are they going to play? Not all the groups, just like with the Gold Cup, not all the groups have been decided, but Miami's group has been, and we know who their opponent is going to be. They are actually going to play Paris Saint-Germain, PSG. And they're going to play on Sunday, just like the U.S. is going to against Costa Rica. They're playing on Sunday in Atlanta. And that's a big storyline because the club, even though Messi spent almost his entire career playing for Barcelona, he spent 2 seasons with PSG just before coming to Miami. And the parting there, I mean, there's, a little drama surrounding his parting from the team. And now he's facing them again in a meaningful competition. So it's Messi playing against his old team, Miami versus PSG. And Miami has, Messi has 3 other former Barcelona teammates on the Miami squad with him. Okay. Jordi Alba, Sergio Busquets, and Luis Suarez. And all of them, including Messi, once played for Luis Enrique, I believe that's his name, at Barcelona. He was their manager. And now that same guy is the manager of PSG. So these 4 Barca guys are going against their former manager, as well as Messi going against his most recent club. So there's narratives there. There's storylines there. Miami, massive, massive underdog. PSG just won the UEFA Champions League this year. They are the current defending champions of Europe. And Miami has not been great this year. The other pieces around the Barca guys have changed during Messi's time with the team, and I don't think those changes have constituted improvements. They're not at the top of the table in the league standings. They're in 5th or 6th place. They struggle with defense, even though they did not give up an open play goal in the group stage until the 80th minute against Palmeiras. So that's been another one of their amazing stories, is that their defense has stepped up during this tournament. But anyway, don't expect Miami to beat PSG, and it might get ugly. But just the fact that Miami got out of the group is everything. And it's everything for the league because of the quality of the competition and how handicapped MLS clubs are by design, by the league's own financial rules and salary cap structures. It's like racing with restrictor plates on. Owners are not allowed. There's plenty of owners in the league that have the money and would love to invest and make these clubs a lot bigger, but they're held back. And so we get into these international tournaments and we got one hand tied behind our back. And so, PSG is one of the biggest clubs in the world. So I expect PSG to win, but congratulations to Miami. I will definitely be rooting for them. It'll be awesome. They're going to be representing CONCACAF. Like I said, Monterrey is still alive. And I think Pachuca might still be alive. And we'll see how the rest of the group stage shakes out. Maybe they'll end up, but right now they're on the outside looking in. That's going to do it for me. My cat is tearing down my Beach Boys poster, so that's when I have to get off the air and go take care of business. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching this with me. Probably went too long again. That's okay. There's too much going on. It's the Summer of Soccer, Gold Cup, Club World Cup. It's all happening again on Sunday. Watch some soccer with me. I will talk to you next time.